Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about how to get the new artifact skin by completing the new class challenges that you get when you unlock the Mage Tower. So this is the Ascendant Watch skin. So there are a few things you need to know over before you start this. I highly suggest you come in with some flasks, some food. A stamina flask is also can be quite helpful for this. And the right talent setup. So there is a very specific set of talents you should take, and this is every single talent in here pretty much has a specific reason. So castigation, this is more, I mean, except for the level 15 one. So castigation you want to be taking just because it does the most damage. Masochism because it will give you the damage reduction which you will need for the challenge. Psychic voice because you need a 30-second cooldown to interrupt the bolts the boss is going to be doing. Solace, you'll need to one-shot an ad that will be coming up during the encounter. For the tier 75, you won't get much out of Twist of Fate because you shouldn't really be dropping below 35% HP. So Power Infusion is the go-to. Now Halo is the definite go-to choice. If you take Clarity of Will, you're going to be too far behind throughout the entire encounter. If you take Divine Star, it doesn't do enough burst damage, and you're not really using it to constantly AoE. There's only specific periods where Halo is perfect for. And you need to also be taking Grace for larger powered shields to prevent damage. Alright, so when you get into the encounter room, nothing really special happens. You just want to be making sure that before it starts, you have your food, you have your flask on. Now for legendaries, if you have Safaz and Pridaz, that will definitely be the best two to use. You're going to be proccing Safaz almost constantly, and Pridaz can prevent a lot of the damage that comes out from this fight. The main thing that you're concerned about really is making sure that you have enough HP for when the fell bursts are coming. So this is why you're taking Masochism, to make sure you're healing yourself up to full, applying the damage reduction. You can also cast Fade. You also want to make sure you have a powered shield on you. And there are also some other tactics that you got to go through for when you're doing it. So there's going to be the boss in the ad here. Now I recommend you to kill the main boss straight away. If you want to be focusing on the ad, you're going to be diverting your attention from the boss from when he casts his fell bursts, which I found was just too hard to deal with. And also killing the ad means that the boss will be up for longer, and the boss is what does the most damage. So off the start of the fight there, you want to make sure you get a Light's Wrath out, you pop your Power Infusion, you try and pump out as much damage into the boss as possible. This first phase here is really where you're going to be getting the most damage on the boss, because as you go further and further into this, the mechanic's going to come closer and closer together. There's going to be more ads spawning, and it just starts to get very tight on how much damage you can actually do to the boss. So now there is really one distinct phase in this that is going to kill you. The other phases should not kill you, and that is when he does the Earthquake. So I'll be going over exactly what kind of rotation of cooldowns you need. So you see here, we'll see so the first thing you want to do is when you're just in this phase where he's just, you know, throwing out random abilities in this fell burst, you want to be fading, you want to be checking your powered shield on yourself and making sure you're at full HP. There is the worm going around on the ground which you can just dodge. It doesn't really do too much. You can dodge it, but it's quite hard to see. And you know, if you're a better player than me, you go ahead and do that. So these little fell totem things he spawns, you just want to one-shot with Shadow Word Pain. If you have a mouse over macro for Shadow Word Pain, I highly suggest you do it. And just use Shadow Word Pain those ads that come up. Again, you just want to be sustaining through the boss, making sure you have much shield as possible. The worm does cast an interrupt that you can watch out for. I think I was pretty sloppy on this attempt, but it doesn't really make or break the fight if you do get interrupted, because it's not the only hard bit of the fight is when he does his Earthquake. So you'll see the Earthquake coming out there, and there's going to be a lot of mechanics happening here. So he's going to Earthquake, he's going to have the worm is going to be sliding around the ground, and he's going to spawn 3 ads and a fell totem. What you want to do is before these ads come out, you want to cast your Halo. Just like before you even see the tooltips, Halo will actually hit the mobs before they even spawn, and Halo can actually one-shot these mobs. What you want to be doing after that is you want to be penancing one, powered solacing one to kill another one, and then using either a Smite and a Shadow Word Pain to kill the third one that comes out. You also want to be casting a Shadow Word Pain on the totem that's spawning to one-shot it to make sure you don't get stunned. During this, you also need to be kiting from the worm that is going away, and you also need to fear the boss when he casts his fell burst. This is the hardest point of the fight. This is the one you need to practice. So you'll see here what happens. I'm casting Halo. I should be solacing one to kill one, penancing one to kill one, and then the boss is going to cast his fell burst in a second. I'm going to fear it, and I killed the totem with my Shadow Word Pain. So that is the rotation you need to get down to make that get done. You need to hold your fear for this phase because you can't be healing through the fell burst because you need to be dodging the boss. So what the worm is going to be doing in this phase as well is the worm is going to be going around trying to stun you. It's going to pretty much charge into wherever your location is. From the earthquake, what the boss is going to do is make sure that he's going to put these earthquakes, which is these little rocks down on the ground. When the worm charges through those little stones in the ground, it's going to reduce one of his armor stacks, which increases the armor stacks reduces the damage the worm takes by 10% per stack, and there's 9 stacks, and there's 3 earthquake things that spawn. So what you want to do essentially is every single time you're in this phase, you want to try and stand on top of one of these rocks or get close to one of these rocks so the worm actually charges through it. If the worm charges through this, it'll actually miss you and won't stun you, but you do just need to keep an eye out on where the worm is and where you are, and just try and dodge it as much as possible. So you can see here I got a bit sloppy with the Fellburst Sphere and I missed it. I did have Pride as, which is what pretty much prevents a death on this. So Pride is a very, very good legendary to have. And then, we're back to conserving here again. We're just trying to push out as much damage as possible. You can see, I do make a lot of mistakes. I do get hit. I do get interrupt. It is completely doable, and it will get a lot easier as well when you have the Gold Dragon, which increases your powered shield healing by 50%. That'll do a lot to mitigate these Fellburst hits. So again, having this mouse over macro for the Shadow Word Pain, you can tab target it, which is what I do sometimes. Or if I'm targeting other things, I'll use my mouse over. I'll probably, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description to what that macro is. And you see that I just Shadow Word Pain everything. I should be solacing one, penancing another, and then fearing the Fellburst that comes up there. So as I said before, when this Earthquake comes up, this is when you need to switch on and make sure you're doing all the mechanics here. So I'll go over it again. You want to Halo when you see the rocks spawning. You want to Penance one of them. You want to Solace another, and then you want to Shadow Word Pain and Smite down the third one. During that, a totem is going to spawn. You need to mouse over Shadow Word Pain it to make sure you're killing that straight away. And when the boss casts his Fellburst, you need to be interrupting that with your Fear. And while doing that, you need to dodge the acid stuff on the ground, and you also need to be dodging the worm boss while trying to stand next to the little stones in the ground. So that is the challenge of this encounter. It literally is, there is that many things going on, and that's why it's challenging. The gear check for it is not that hard. I'm only 9-10 right now, which I realize is pretty high for some people, but for people who are clearing mythic raids right now, 9-10, it should be doable in even less item level. You can see how many mistakes I do make during this, so it is definitely doable at a lower item level. Now what you also want to be doing is with Fade. So you can see this Fellburst here. I should Fade and Powered Shield. That is very important to do. The Fade damage reduction is quite big. You can also be casting a preemptive Shadowman to get the 10%. I found that with Pride Eyes I didn't really need to do that. You also do have emergency cooldowns like Barrier and Pain Sup. They're going to help you if you're not topped for a Fellburst. So you really need to be switched on. You really need to be able to do a lot of movement, a lot of damage, react to the things that are happening very quickly. And that's what it's meant to be. It's supposed to be very challenging. So just when this Earthquake comes out, this is when you want to be making sure you're doing as much damage as possible. So when you actually kill the boss there, the Wormad is going to enrage. Now when it enrages, it's not really too dangerous. It increases the damage does by 150%. So if you're when it does its interrupt, it's going to just do a lot of damage to you. So you just want to make sure, again, you have Fade, Powered Shield. It's not going to one-shot you, thank God. But just do beware. I think I'll probably have Pride Eyes up for a lot of these things. So you can see how much damage it does there. So just make sure you have the Powered Shield, and you should be all Gucci. Your artifact ability, the secret one, can also proc during this, so you can get the big Light's Wrath casts off. You'll see in a second here when my Light's Wrath comes off cooldown, the boss essentially dies. And that's pretty much it for this. So I bid a lot of you good luck in getting this done. Just know, once you get your Gold Dragon, this will become significantly easier, just because the fell bursts are going to be a lot less dangerous. You probably can get away with not casting Fade on a lot of them, and you'll probably be fine. Because your powered shields are going to go up from, say, 400k to 600, 700k. So, and that's it, just them. All right. Good luck. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, just let me know.